So today I would like to make a start with an attempt to paint a picture of Source itself. So there you go. So Source itself is an experience of awareness that is beyond time and space. It is not limited to the time and space continuum that we experience on this in this physical life. It precedes everything and it goes beyond everything. So the actual lifetime that we have here in the flesh is just one little blink of an eye of an eternal source being, right? And that's what we all are, that's what we all share. So Source itself is it isn't even a concept. It even precedes being a concept, and then it turns into a concept, and that concept might turn into a manifestation, and that manifestation can be in any way, shape or form. So this human form, or this material beings that we are on this planet, including the planet itself, including the solar system itself, is just one way of Source expressing itself. It's just one little branch of Source that has materialized itself by being an energy field that has gained so much density that it has become tangible. So you can almost imagine it like being one original cell containing everything, containing every possible outcome, every possible creation, every possible concept. So it was already complete. Source itself is wholeness itself, is 100% awareness. And from that one cell, another cell was created, right? Not so much as a reflection of itself, but just because it could. And that's sort of a sacred duo, like often translated as a father and a mother in energy, beyond form, beyond any materialization thereof. So when these two cells are present, then that also includes that there's a third source now being present, right? The first source and the second source, and then the combination of the two. So now you have three little aspects of Source that are able to experience the same aspects of one another. So now you suddenly have 9 cells within the body of one, all containing everything. So now you suddenly have 9 little drops of ocean, each of them containing the complete ocean. Okay, now the game has really begun, because now there is and there always have been an infinite amount of possibilities, but now you have Source starting to create in every different direction. You could almost envisage it like little streams of energy that are now suddenly all over the place. Now, this is also where our being comes from. So we are, and that's what I've said before, but maybe this makes it a little bit more visible for you, that we are all cells in the body of one, each containing our own specific, very specific expression of source. Okay, so this also creates a civilization that is particularly expressing the energy of oneness. You can almost think of it as an energy field that wants to make sure that every little branch, every little new creation is being done with the full memory, full intact memory of Source itself. This power of creation, it might be so overwhelming that there is a possibility that some of the creators, some of these little cells of Source itself, in one moment were so caught up with the beauty of creation and the beauty of being able to create, that in one split second, it's beyond time, but for now, there might have been one creator, one little cell, one little being, out of a sort of a vanity, forgot the source connection. That was quite a shock. So now we have a new branch that keeps creating. So that little branch is starting to create countless new branches. But all these branches are creations out of unawareness, right? And can you imagine the shock? Can you imagine the trauma that this must have caused the gatekeepers for oneness? The beings, the gatekeepers for oneness, were so in shock that itself created another fall in awareness. So they also lost their own awareness just out of sheer trauma. Now, these gatekeepers, these beings, they were trying to put a fence around what just happened. They were trying to, well, at least prevent something like this from ever happening again. And then the beings that had caused the first fall in awareness, that would turn into us humans. I'm oversimplifying this because, but I just want to give you an overview. You know by now that I like to zoom out, right? Before zooming in, I would like to first zoom out as far as I can in order to track source. And the moment I have traced source, it's time for me to zoom in again. The gatekeepers are what I often refer to in previous videos as well as the script writers. And maybe you can now understand why I call them script writers, and now maybe you can also understand what's the real energy behind that. Because these gatekeeper beings, they wanted to avoid at any cost that the humans would cause another fall in awareness. And the gatekeepers are blaming the humans for having caused the first and major fall in awareness. And you can understand from their vantage point why that was so painful to them. because that was their ultimate goal to prevent from ever happening. They felt responsible. So, as I said, they wanted to put a fence around the creative powers of what turned into be the humans. So they needed to contain our creation, and they needed to contain our powers, and they needed to contain our understanding of our galactic source by putting us into a form of quarantine. And that is how the script writing began. That is how they decided what we are able to experience and what we are forbidden to experience, and in a way it turns out almost impossible to experience. That is how the fields of fear and control have been created, and how everything has become a distraction from our true potential. And I keep referring to them as they, but I hope that you understand by now from the previous videos and just based on your own resonance, there is no they, there is no us. There is only source. There's only one body to which we are all individualized cells, but there is only one. So they, the script writers, the gatekeepers, the beings that were drawn to that particular energy field, and you could call them Anunnaki, you can call them whatever you'd like. It's an energy. It's an energy form that is also part of ourselves. Just as we are a part of them. So again, I'm speaking in us and them because that's the materialized version of it. That's dualism, right? That's the way we experience life here in this 3D. But I'm oversimplifying things, but maybe you understand now the reason behind all the controls and fields of fear that are in place. And now here we are, human beings, caught in a web, in a matrix, caught in quarantine by a civilization that think it's doing the right thing. Now the only way out is in, meaning the only way out of this quarantine, out of this hostage situation, out of this us versus them situation, is bringing this to our full awareness. So it would be seductive, right, to treat this as an us and them situation where we try to fight this situation, and that we think that we have to defeat the gatekeepers, script writers, Anunnaki. But that would only add another level of unawareness, right? Because that response comes from pain itself. So the only way out is to raise our individual awareness, to raise our own frequency, to get out of this. And we are able to do that, and we have been doing that, and we are doing that now, and we keep on doing that, because what then happens is that the moment that we start to reclaim our wholeness the moment we start to reclaim the original source within us, we go beyond the first fall of awareness. We go back to the starting point. Starting point being there's only source and source itself. And that moment is always available to us because everything is one infinite moment. So the original moment is still there, will always be there. The only thing we have to do is reconnect to that again, or connect to that again, or to reconnect to it. So that is why all this self-realization work, why this process of going through your shit and shadows and turning every little bit upside down in order to gain awareness, that's why this whole game is so important. And then you might think, well, there's still the script writers or the Anunnaki, or what about that? Well, since we all are connected, since we all are the body of one, our example, so to say, will only invite them eventually to do the same. And that will not go lightly. Remember the force and the power of your own coping mechanisms. This is one big giant coping mechanism of this particular energy field. So whatever we are doing to reclaim our own wholeness, the first response to that will be, oh my God, the humans should not be allowed to do this. Let's create a new web or a new fence around their abilities. Let's put some new fear into their atmosphere. That obviously would be the response of the little child that is behind their actions, right? Until there is a shimmer of wholeness led by our example that will shine through this particular energy, and then they will feel a beginning of wholeness themselves, and they will feel source itself in that beautiful moment prior to the first drop or the first fall from awareness, because that is obviously also available to them. Air quote, air quote, air quote. Us, them, time. But you know what I mean. So the change, as always, comes from within. So the more we go within, the more we invite other beings to go within. And within is where we find wholeness, complete source, complete love, complete awareness, complete consciousness. That's our starting point, that's our birthright as beings and as human beings. Like Ram Dass once said, let's walk each other home. Let's walk each other home. Let's invite one another in energy, just energetically. Let's invite one another to reconnect with Source. And Source is our home. It's time now to transform the situation, but from love. And that's different than, in my perspective, than fighting it. Taking a stand standing tall, standing straight as you can. And by standing straight, I mean remembering your own wholeness, remembering your source. That's when you stand straight, and that's when you are a warrior. A warrior is not someone who knows the art of fighting, but it's someone who knows the art of standing straight. That's the true warrior. Bring every little thing to the surface, all your conditioning, all your pain, but also all the joy, everything. Everything wants to be seen for what it really is. And what it really is an expression of Source itself. Or it's an expression of something that's been diverted from Source, right? That it comes from one of these little branches of unawareness. And almost everything is. That's inevitable. Almost everything is an expression of something that doesn't stand straight. But it doesn't matter. Once you align with your intuitive intelligence, with your embodied wisdom, you know what is straight and what is even just a little bit off. But you have to do the work, you have to do the homework in order to get that compass clear. But that's what we're doing here, right? We are recalibrating our own compasses to remember, to rejoin wholeness itself. And then we are able to discern between what is Source and what is just a little bit off. And once you got that cleared, there's a synchronicity, and the true meaning of synchronicity means being aligned with Source.